Welcome to Mr. Winter Wonderland channel. Subscribe now and let's unravel the wonders of our world together. Now, let's get to today's video. Today's case is covered in sadness. This is the story of a young girl who was stolen from her childhood and forced to endure isolation and fear. While the world searched for answers, she quietly lived through a nightmare, her innocence shattered and her life forever changed. Fusako Sano was just a 9-year-old fourth grader when she went missing after watching a school baseball game in her hometown. The police explored many theories, including the possibility that she had been kidnapped by North Korean intelligence agents. Unexpected, however, was how shocking the outcome of this case would be. Nobuyuki Sato, the man responsible for Fusako's disappearance, was born on July 15, 1962, in Kashiwazaki City. His father had worked as a driver for company executives in Tokyo, but returned to his hometown to start a taxi business. Sato's father was already 62 years old when he was born, and his mother was 36. Sato grew up with little interest in school activities, though he briefly dabbled in baseball during junior high. His school years were filled with loneliness and fear. In fact, Sato was diagnosed with mysophobia, a fear of dirt and germs, in his early teens and struggled to relate to his aging father, who had become a dirty presence in his eyes. Sato's resentment grew, and by high school, he had withdrawn from social life, leading to him becoming a target for bullying. By the time he reached adulthood, Sato was known to the local police for suspicious behavior. On June 13, 1989, Sato was caught attempting to abduct a 9-year-old elementary school girl, much like Fusako. Luckily, 2 of her classmates saw what was happening, and the school staff apprehended Sato before he could harm the girl. He was arrested on the spot. A year after this incident, on November 13, 1990, Fusako Sano disappeared. Despite a large-scale police search, she was nowhere to be found. The police considered the possibility that she had been abducted by North Korean agents. In reality, Fusako had been kidnapped by Sato, who was 28 years old at the time. He forced her into his car and held her captive for over 9 years in the upstairs room of his home, just 200 meters from a police station. Fusako eventually gave up hope of escaping. Sato kept her tied up for months, punishing her with a stun gun if she didn't record horse races on TV. She was threatened with a knife and frequently beaten. Sato shared his clothes with her and fed her 3 times a day. Either instant meals or food his mother cooked downstairs. Though Sato's mother lived in the same house, she had no contact with Fusako. Police believe she must have known something, as she was seen buying feminine hygiene products multiple times. Fusako spent most of her time listening to the radio and only began watching TV during the final year of her captivity. Despite the door to her room being unlocked, Fusako never attempted to leave, later explaining, "I was too scared to escape and eventually lost the energy." The discovery? In January 2000, Sato's mother reached out to a local health center because her son had become increasingly violent. After multiple calls, officials visited the house on January 28, 2000. During their visit, Sato caused a disturbance, leading the police to intervene. It was then that Fusako, now 19 years old, finally stepped forward and identified herself. She told the officers, "I was abducted near the school by a man who forced me into a car. For 9 years, I did not take a step out of the house. Today, I went out for the first time." Fusako had been held captive for 9 years and 2 months. Though she was physically healthy, she was extremely weak and thin from lack of exercise. Mentally, she was still a child, and she suffered from post-traumatic stress disorder. Her skin was pale from the absence of sunlight, and she was dehydrated. After her rescue, Fusako was reunited with her family. Her mother initially didn't recognize her, as the last time she saw Fusako, she was just a child. The aftermath? Nobuyuki Sato was sentenced to 14 years in prison. He was released in April 2015, but 2 years later, he was found dead, alone in an apartment in Chiba. Fusako, now an adult, managed to improve her health and began helping her family with their rice farming. While she still struggled with adjusting to normal life due to her years in captivity, she found solace in digital photography and enjoyed taking walks alone. She also became a fan of the local soccer team and occasionally attended their games. However, Fusako's story remains largely private. Her family declined to comment on her ordeal, preferring to keep their pain out of the public eye. Tragedy struck again in 2007 when Fusako's father drowned in a pond, with her present. Despite everything, Fusako continues to move forward, finding peace in small moments and in the quiet beauty of nature. That is all for today. Thank you for watching. Please like and subscribe if you enjoyed today's video. Until next time, take care.